Tonight, new testimony at a murder trial. What a neighbor and a paramedic told court about an elderly woman and the husband she's accused of killing. A life-changing diagnosis.
He wore a very brave face, which, as parents, we struggle doing that.
That's driven a community to support a little boy.
He had an idea of putting Harrison's name on some Kitchener Rangers stickers and some Waterloo Wolf stickers.
An unexpected battle with cancer and an outpouring of heart. Plus, taking the beautiful game to a new level. The launch of a soccer program in Waterloo Region and how it could be a powerful platform for development. Good evening. An elderly woman was back in a Brantford courtroom today, standing trial for her husband's killing. 81-year-old Elfgard Outred is charged with second-degree murder in the 2022 death of Gordon Outred. Well, today, court heard from some of those who first arrived at the scene. CTV's Alexandra Hollick was in court and brings us details.
With the help of 4 special constables, Elfgard Outred made her way into Brantford's Superior Court of Justice Tuesday, her hood draped over her head, walker in hand. The Crown's first witness, James McClellan, the Outred's next-door neighbor on Salt Springs Church Road in Brant County. McClellan told the court Gordon Outred was like a second father to him, and on the day of the incident, he said Elfgard came to his house asking for help because Gordon fell. McClellan said Elfgard appeared to be, quote, genuinely upset. When he arrived, McClellan said he saw Gordon lying face down in a pool of blood. He called 911, turned Gordon over, and started CPR. Shortly after, emergency crews arrived at the scene, including the Crown's next witness, a paramedic. Andrew Oliva told the court Gordon had 2 large wounds on either side of his head, cuts across his face, and a black eye. He said at the time he asked Elfgard if Gordon had a drinking problem that would cause an excess amount of blood, or if there were any weapons in the house, implying that Gordon may have tried to kill himself. Oliva said Elfgard told him no. Gordon was pronounced dead at the scene. So far, all of the Crown's witnesses have described a similar scene, saying the house was otherwise tidy and there didn't appear to be any struggle or fight leading up to Gordon's death. In the Crown's opening arguments on Monday, prosecutor Janice Kim told the court Elfgard had a gambling addiction and would often fight with Gordon over her habit. She also said Elfgard admitted to her daughter that she used a hammer to kill her husband, though the Crown has not provided any evidence or witnesses to support those allegations. The trial is expected to last 3 weeks. Alexandra Hollick, CTV News, Brantford.
A couple of weather-related stories we're following today. First, those wild thunderstorms last night. A lightning strike caused some minor damage to a home in Waterloo. Crews were out repairing a gas line that got ruptured after a tree was hit by lightning next to a home on Edgebrook Place. The incident damaging a garage window and a tree and setting off a smell of natural gas.
And then there was just a bit of a smell of natural gas, so Enbridge was contacted, and it was just a rupture of a line that ran right beside the tree that was struck. So they were contacted and they capped the line off.
Now, the ordeal also set off a small fire, which police put out with a fire extinguisher. Thankfully, no injuries reported. And the warm temperatures, an overnight thunderstorm, plus some more rain in the forecast for the rest of this week has led to flood warnings for West Montrose and St. Jacobs. The Grand River Conservation Authority says river flows in West Montrose are expected to reach flood warning zone 1, and that was expected to happen at some point late this afternoon. It could continue into Wednesday. A flood warning was also issued for Grand Valley, and a watch was issued for the rest of the Grand River watershed. Now, people are urged to be cautious, especially around rivers and streams. And time now for a first check on the weather, and let's get right into some active weather that we're keeping an eye on right now, because we actually do have a warning to let you know about. Let's get to that right now. It is a severe thunderstorm warning, and actually, before we get to that, we're going to show you this, because there's been a lot of storm activity in the area over the last 24 hours. So this is some footage that was captured last night as the thunder and lightning and rain was rolling through. Pretty torrential downpour at some point, and it's certainly left quite a soaking across the entire area. So visibility also a factor too, because those temperatures have been so mild. We've been seeing thick fog throughout the region, and that's just a little collection of what we've been dealing with. And right now, the thing to tell you about it in this moment is a severe thunderstorm watch that's in place right across Waterloo region, north into Grey and Bruce counties, west over to Huron, Perth, down into London, Middlesex, Sarnia, Lambton as well, and right to the shores of Lake Huron. Now, we could be talking about 90-kilometer-an-hour wind gusts and up to Toonie-sized hail. And Environment Canada says this kind of activity means there is the potential for the risk of a tornado. So just something to keep an eye on as we head through the evening with all of that active weather around us. But let's take a look at the satellite radar right now, and this gives you the story. A lot moving through, a lot of unstable air, a lot of storm activity moving across Lake Huron, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, and as it moves from west to east, that's why we've got to be on the lookout tonight for changing conditions. Temperatures, as we take a look at those, right now sitting at 19 degrees, very warm for this time in late March. We've got a light wind out of the south at 15 kilometers an hour, and the pressure is 100.6 right now. So again, we do have that severe thunderstorm watch in place. It could be an evening to keep an eye on the sky as some unstable weather rolls through. Closing arguments began today at the sexual assault trial of billionaire Frank Stronach. When the trial began early last month, 7 women were accusing Stronach of assaults dating back to the 1970s. But charges for 3 of the complainants are no longer going forward. CTV's Allison Hurst has the latest.
Defense counsel and Crown prosecutors are giving their closing arguments in the sexual assault trial of billionaire Frank Stronach. Defense lawyer Leora Shemish went first, arguing the complainants lied, manipulated, and certainly attempted to deceive the court. On the investigation itself, she says police had tunnel vision and failed to look into the veracity of the complainants' claims, like checking to see if Mr. Stronach was even in the country at the time of the alleged assaults. Stronach initially faced 12 charges related to 7 women with allegations dating back roughly 40 years. He pleaded not guilty to all. During the trial, the Crown indicated they would not be pursuing 5 of the charges related to 3 complainants. The first of the remaining complainants testified she was sexually assaulted on her 21st birthday at a club the auto tycoon owned called Rooney's, then again in a booth, and told the court he raped her at a harbourfront condo. Shemish pointed to the changes that woman made to the year when she said it may have happened in 1981, not 1980. That date only changed, we say, because she was fearful the defense could prove Mr. Stronach was not in the country, says Shemish. In her submissions, Crown Prosecutor Yelena Vlasic responded, "It's our position she was never certain about the date." But Ontario Superior Court Justice Anne Malloy pressed the Crown on this complainant's testimony at length, saying about the date, "What's troubling is the shifting reasons for why she knows it was 1980 and the shifting reasons for why she knows it was 1981. The second complainant, who worked for Stronach before and after the alleged incident, testified she was sexually assaulted at Stronach's harbourfront condo when he helped her put on her coat and ran his hands along her body. Shemish pointed out she hadn't mentioned the coat in past statements, arguing her story simply defies logic. Justice Malloy suggested if she were to make up a story to get money from Mr. Stronach, it would involve more than putting on a coat to touch her. Vlasic agreed the coat was a new detail, adding it didn't alter the mechanics of what happened. The third complainant testified she was sexually assaulted at his Midtown apartment when he bent her over the arm of a chair following a dinner. Shemish says her story was completely unbelievable, adding the woman never turned her face to see him during the entire 2 to 3 minute alleged assault. Shemish added police also never inquired about this apartment. Vlasic says she explained that because Mr. Stronach was behind her during the assault, she couldn't see him, so of course she couldn't describe his facial expression or the state of dress during the assault. The final complainant testified she was taken to dinner with Stronach and then sexually assaulted at his harbourfront condo. This woman, Shemish says, was and is a fraud, pointing to her claims of business success and that she lied about when she'd spoken to a lawyer. The Crown's closing statement continues tomorrow. Allison Hurst, CTV News.
A renoviction bylaw for Kitchener is one step closer to reality. City councillors voting last night in favor of new measures to crack down on bad faith landlords who use renovations as a reason to evict tenants and then rent the property at a higher rate.
And that carries by a vote of 5 to 3. agree that we should defer.
And so, as you heard, it wasn't unanimous, but that decision was approved, and this was at the committee level of Kitchener City Council. So this all has to still be ratified at a full council meeting before a bylaw is actually developed. But the plan is to require landlords to get a $650 license for every unit they want to renovate where a tenant has to be displaced, and to provide the city and tenants proof of the plan and a professional assessment. Now, advocates for tenants have been pushing for tougher rules to protect renters. We'll start your day in the know with the CTV Kitchener newsletter. Get the best local content from our newsroom right to your inbox every morning. We've got a look at the day's top stories, the latest weather forecast, and some must-see videos. You can sign up for this daily morning email by heading over to our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. A little competitive spirit to boost interest in the trades. Coming up, high school students from across Huron and Perth counties square off in an event that could give them a sneak peek at their future careers.
I'm Jeff Pickle at Rim Park with details on a new soccer partnership meant to create pathways for the top players in Kitchener and Waterloo. Those details are just ahead.
Well, if you're headed out through the overnight hours, make sure to keep your umbrella handy. The good news is by morning, things are going to start to clear up. Just how warm and how clear, I'll have those details coming up with your full weather forecast. Stay with us.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvkitchener.ca, your home for news. When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Well, now to a story about how the community is rallying around a young hockey player who is facing his toughest battle. 9-year-old Harrison Yoshi was diagnosed with a form of brain cancer earlier this year, but his love for hockey has drawn support from the sports community all around Ontario. CTV's Karis Mapp is here to tell us more tonight. Karis, from a fundraiser to a sticker campaign, the family says they've really been supported in all kinds of ways over the last several weeks.
Tony, anyone who's been to a hockey rink around the region recently may have seen a Harrison Yoshi number 14 sticker on players' helmets or gear. Just one example of how the community is showing its support for one of their own. It was after a fall on the ice during hockey practice around Christmas time that Harrison Yoshi first experienced symptoms. The 9-year-old is a member of the Kitchener Junior Rangers U10 AAA team.
It wasn't until later that night when we were coming home that he started being a little bit disoriented, started showing some signs of what we presumed was a concussion.
Following a series of CT scans, an optometry exam that showed pressure behind Harrison's optic nerve, and an MRI, it was discovered that Harrison had 2 tumors on his brain, the diagnosis coming at the start of February.
Diffuse midline glioma. It's rare. He has an aggressive mutation.
Harrison recently completed 30 days of radiation, keeping the same enthusiasm he brought to the ice into treatment.
He wore a very brave face. Which, as parents, we struggle doing that.
The impact of Harrison's journey is being felt across the community and much of southwestern Ontario thanks to a sticker campaign that launched right here at McPhail's in Uptown Waterloo. Jordan Bonneville has known Cody since the two went to high school and played hockey together.
He had an idea of putting Harrison's name on some Kitchener Rangers stickers and some Waterloo Wolf stickers. From that point on, we started printing the stickers nonstop for weeks at a time.
An estimated 3,000 to 4,000 stickers have been printed and sent all over.
London, some went to Strathroy, some went to Chatham, some went to Windsor.
If you've been at a rink, you've probably seen Harrison's sticker on the back of a helmet on a hockey stick. The Kitchener Rangers have them on their helmets. It's been remarkable.
The Rangers even going above and beyond to make Harrison feel like he's part of the team.
He looks up to those guys. He thinks they're professionals. So for him to feel included has just truly brightens his day.
Numerous community members and hockey teams also contributing to a GoFundMe set up to support the family. And as people hear of Harrison's story, they've found ways to help lift his spirits.
He gets mail now. Kids send him hockey cards or just small little tokens like that.
And when he's feeling up to it, Harrison now returns to the ice to be back with his team.
You hear people say you never know when the last time you'll tie their skates. So it's been special.
With radiation now complete, Harrison and his family are waiting to see what their options are for next steps. Cody said they're hoping to be part of upcoming clinical trials, but he's grateful for how far his son has come and remains hopeful for the future. Tony.
Okay, Karis, thank you. CTV's Karis Map with that story for us. From rivals to teammates, today Waterloo United Soccer and Kitchener Soccer Club announced a partnership for a high-performance senior-level program. The clubs say it's a move that makes sense for everyone. And let's go live now to CTV's Jeff Pickle at Rim Park in Waterloo to find out all about this. Jeff, this partnership is just for the top-level program.
Yeah, Tony, for any parents watching, there's very little change when it comes to the youth levels. There'll still be a Waterloo minor soccer. There's still a Kitchener minor soccer. What this is talking about is that very top tier stuff, the Ontario Premier League stuff, U20 players and beyond. So those two clubs are coming together, partnering together to create stronger pathways for players in those two cities. So right now, only Waterloo United has an Ontario Premier League team. That includes a U20 team, a U23 team, and a top senior team in both men's and women's. For Kitchener soccer players, they have to join another club after their U18 year if they want to play in the Ontario Premiership. According to the clubs, the new arrangement will allow the two organizations to pool their resources and provide a better product for their players and the community.
You can get coaches in the building that might coach a first team or a more senior team, but can also give back to our youth team. So you have more cross-learning of coaches. You have exposure to different coaches and different environments as you go through that kind of player pathway and journey. But also just not even just a player. We want to create great experiences, meaningful experiences that families can come to a game on a Friday night.
Now, the partnership officially begins this year, but there'll be very little change that you can see. The teams have kind of already been picked, so it's really starting next year is when they'll start to integrate those two teams, and they say there will be kind of a full rebrand. They'll get some new colors, probably a new team name, and really some more competition and more players looking to join one of the top clubs in the region. Tony?
All right, sounds exciting. Jeff, thank you. CTV's Jeff Pickle, live at Rim Park. Soccer fans everywhere are counting down to the World Cup this year, but so are scammers taking advantage of fans who are clamoring for tickets. CTV's Adrian Gobriel has this cautionary tale and tips to protect yourself.
David steps up and finishes coolly.
The authenticity of Canada's men's soccer team is well documented, yet the lead up to co-hosting the World Cup is now fraught with fraud.
Fraudsters try to capitalize on vulnerabilities. They know that so many Canadians and people outside of Canada want to attend these events.
The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre confirms they're now working with the RCMP, Vancouver and Toronto police ahead of this June's World Cup as they work to weed out bad actors across the country and beyond.
I was embarrassed to even tell my wife, and I was actually embarrassed to do this interview, to be fair, because I'm in my 40s, man.
Adonis Ibrahim runs a rec soccer league in Windsor, Ontario. Like many, he's desperate to get his hands on a World Cup ticket. He ended up on Facebook Marketplace, where he shared that he was looking for a single ticket to Canada's opener in Toronto. Someone, apparently named Ava Green, sent Ibrahim this message. They agreed on a price of $400, half of which he paid up front. The tickets never arrived.
I was taken advantage of, and I'm doing this because I don't want it to happen to anyone else.
Fans are also being duped into paying for World Cup rental properties that don't exist. Counterfeit merchandise is also on the rise. The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre is advising individuals to only use FIFA's verified exchange platform for resale tickets. Avoid third-party sites selling tickets and merchandise. For short-term rentals, be cautious if the price appears too good to be true. Use a credit card with fraud protection whenever possible when making a purchase.
Don't get scammed. It's not a good feeling.
With Team Canada preparing to take on the world, Ibrahim has been left still searching for a single ticket to fulfill a lifelong dream.
There are still some more affordable, legitimate tickets available for the two upcoming friendlies in Edmonton and Montreal before Team Canada officially kicks off its World Cup right here at BMO Field on June 12th. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Okay, this is a live look outside our studios right now in Kitchener Sports World area, and this gives you an idea of that sort of ominous look that is overhead really all across southern Ontario. We still have a severe thunderstorm watch in place right now, still the potential for some more storm activity. We heard some thunder rolling outside our studio just a few minutes ago. We'll have the full forecast in just a few minutes. Also ahead, rising costs, the federal fee and tax increases that you may notice soon. Plus, remembering a Canadian political leader who was also a human rights advocate. Back in a moment. Well, we've had a lot to keep our eyes on with the weather today. As if those storms last night, the fog this morning, those crazy mild temperatures weren't enough today. We are under a severe thunderstorm watch right now, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But first, let's take a live look outside right now. This is in Waterloo. The rain is coming down. We've actually had some flashes of lightning, some booms of thunder in the last half hour or so. Getting those reports, by the way, from right across Waterloo region, Kitchener, Cambridge, and the Waterloo area as well. And that's a result of all of these storm systems that are rolling across southern Ontario. Here is the watch area right now. And actually, that is a warning right now. Severe thunderstorm warning, Kitchener-Waterloo, up north into parts of Grey Bruce, over west into Huron-Perth, all the way down to London, Middlesex, Sarnia-Lambton as well. Risk of a tornado, and that is just because the potential is there with these conditions. 90-kilometer-an-hour wind gusts possible, could see hail and torrential downpours. So really, one, two, or any of the above could happen until this warning ends at some point this evening. The risk is going to be there, though, for the early evening. And Ashley has our long-range forecast now.
Well, Tony, the region has had an absolute drenching over the last 12 hours or so and continuing into the overnight. We had a thunderstorm roll through first thing this morning and then heavier rain pick up again this afternoon after the lunch hour. Good news is we are still seeing a bit of rain, but it is starting to taper off. We are going to continue to see heavier bands through the next few hours coming and going. By 1 a.m., things will start to slow down, and around 3, that's when we're going to start to see more overcast than anything. Good news is by tomorrow morning, we're expecting skies to essentially clear. We will continue to see some overcast, but it will be a pretty nice spring day tomorrow. Don't get used to it, because unfortunately we are expecting a bit more precipitation later on in the week. So if you have some outdoor things to do, tomorrow is definitely the day to do it. As we take a look at what we're expecting through overnight hours, 3 is our overnight low, so we're still above seasonal temperatures, which is great news. Another 5 to 10 millimeters of rain is expected to fall through the overnight hours. For tomorrow, we are looking at more normal temperatures for this time of year. We've had some very warm days the last couple of days. 9 degrees is right around the average for where we should be this year. As I mentioned, the morning we'll start to see clearing, and we should get the sun peeking out a few times tomorrow. As we look at our almanac, just to normalize what we look at, -8 rather, is our normal for this time of year. -2 is our overnight low normal. So by comparison, 18 today was a lot warmer, but not nearly as close to our records as we currently are sitting. So 1998, 23.6 was our warm record set. So not as warm as that, but it certainly felt very humid out there at some points today. Taking a look at our 7-day forecast, starting in Waterloo regions, showers make a return for Thursday, a high of 5 degrees. Friday as well, but check out those temperatures. They skyrocket to 22 on Friday, 19 for Saturday, and then back down to around 5 on Sunday. All those days, though, lots of rain, so you're going to want to keep those umbrellas handy. In Lambton, Kent, Essex, similar conditions for you. Showers expected for your Wednesday, high of 8, 16 on Thursday, 24 degrees, the expected daytime high for Friday. That's more summer-like than spring-like. I'm sure you guys will be happy to see it despite the showers that are expected. And lastly, in southern Georgian Bay, temperatures not quite as warm. We're looking at a daytime high of 2 on Wednesday, a mix of snow and rain for Thursday at 9. Friday, 19 degrees is the expected high, and Saturday, 18. So overall conditions, Tony, tomorrow is going to be a great day, but you're going to want to keep those umbrellas handy for the rest of the week.
Ash, thank you. And just a reminder that a severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect right now. It's currently a watch. One of Canada's most well-known human rights advocates has died after a battle with cancer. For more than 2 decades, former Ontario NDP leader Stephen Lewis worked with the UN to draw attention to the severity of the AIDS epidemic in Africa and around the world. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has more.
A passionate and determined humanitarian, Stephen Lewis never hesitated to speak his mind.
What kind of a world do we live in where the life of an African child or an Asian child is worth so much less than the life of a Canadian child?
After dropping out of law school in the 1960s, Lewis moved to Africa and became a lifelong advocate for the region, committed to improving the lives of those struggling through the HIV and AIDS epidemic.
You witness it, and you experience a kind of simultaneous spasm of helplessness and anger and resolve.
His dedication led to more than 2 decades with the United Nations, serving in positions from Canada's UN ambassador to deputy director of UNICEF.
Congratulations.
And a UN special envoy for AIDS in Africa.
I cannot remember in my entire adult life scenes of such unendurable human desolation. It was heartbreaking.
Lewis was immersed in politics from a young age.
There isn't a law on the statute books of this country that doesn't carry the imprint of the CCF and the NDP.
His father, David Lewis, served as the National Secretary of the Canadian Commonwealth Federation, or CCF. When his dad was leading the federal New Democrats, he was leading the party in Ontario. And decades later, just days before his death, Lewis's son Avi would go on to become the federal NDP leader.
There's something almost quaint in the Russians investigating the NDP.
Stephen Lewis's debating skills, compassion, and his honesty gained him widespread respect at home and abroad.
What we have been suggesting is an agenda of work for Ontario, an agenda of work which implies a shared government and a shared leadership which the people of this province seem to be conveying to the politicians.
A life of leadership that will live on through the continued work of the Stephen Lewis Foundation, a nonprofit that since 2003 has helped provide care for women, children, and communities suffering from AIDS and HIV.
I was clobbered by the carnage of the pandemic that I was witnessing in Africa and desperate to do something about it in a concrete way. And thus the foundation was formed.
A legacy of bringing attention to the plight of those less fortunate and forgotten. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
The federal excise tax on beer, wine, and spirits is going up another 2% tomorrow. And as of today, passport fees are also up. CTV's Rachel Aiello now on the increases.
Restaurant and bar owners are already feeling squeezed.
There's only so much we could raise pricing. I've had a new menu ready to be rolled out for about a month now.
The coming tax hike on alcohol is typically tied to inflation, but CTV News has learned Ottawa is extending its 2% cap on it for 2 more years.
I'm glad it's not going more than 2%.
The April 1st increase is estimated to generate millions, coming on top of the revenue boost the government is getting from high gas prices. Asked today if the Prime Minister is considering cutting taxes for Canadians in return, Mark Carney wouldn't say.
We'll have a fiscal event in the spring with the spring update, and that would be the right time to fully answer that question.
The cap is meant to stabilize costs ahead of a busy tourist season. But for those planning to travel abroad, as of today, you'll also be paying more for a new passport. For applications within Canada, the cost of a regular 10-year adult passport has jumped $3.50. A 5-year adult passport costs $2.50 more, and a 5-year child's passport now costs $1.50 more. This is the first increase in passport fees since 2013.
By increasing costs on travel documents like a passport, it makes it harder to get to our destination, and this has an impact on tourism.
And this may not be the end of price increases. The federal government, under what's called the Service Fees Act, says it will now be updating certain prices annually based on inflation. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
The deadline for the federal government's controversial gun buyback program is today. The Trudeau government banned assault-style firearms 6 years ago, incentivizing owners to turn them in for cash. Critics are already calling the program a failure. Here's CTV's Judy Trin.
The federal government is missing its target for the voluntary gun buyback program on soon-to-be outlawed weapons. $250 million was set aside to compensate gun owners. So far, 57,000 guns have been declared, much less than the 136,000 firearms the federal government expected. The government blames it on misinformation online that overstates the types of firearms that are included.
There's just 2,500 models that were banned. It leaves 19,000 models on the market, so people can still hunt, can still sport shoot.
The ban on 2,500 models of assault-style weapons came after 22 people were killed in a 2020 shooting rampage in Portapique, Nova Scotia. The government is offering to buy back the weapons for $150 up to more than $10,000, depending on the model. But the process is confusing for some.
The average demographic of the owners of these firearms is over 65 years of age, and their ability to navigate online portals is not very good. And they're having a very difficult time adhering to the, to the procedures the government's put in place for this.
Alberta and Saskatchewan don't support the federal program, and most police services across the country will not help collect the firearms. The National Gun Lobby is also mounting a legal challenge.
I worry about the enormous waste of resources and efforts on this program that could have instead been focused on reducing crime, violence, gun smuggling.
The ban on assault-style weapons takes effect at the end of October. The Supreme Court of Canada has also agreed to hear the appeal launched by the Canadian Coalition for Firearms Rights, but the court has yet to set a date. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Easter dinner with a side of sticker shock. Coming up, a price check on some staples for a spring tradition.
Explosive rhythm, percussion, dance, theater, comedy, and more. CTV Kitchener is giving you the chance to experience the global phenomenon Stomp live at Center in the Square on April 17th. Enter now for your chance to win tickets at ctvkitchener.ca.
Another increase at the gas pumps as the Iran war rattles oil markets. Some parts of Canada feeling it a lot more than others. Here's CTV's Paul Hollingsworth.
Gas is up 7.1 cents a litre in Halifax, more than 8 cents on PEI, with even bigger jumps for diesel in both provinces.
I'm leaving my truck in the yard.
Analyst Carol Montroy says the war in Iran is having a direct impact on the price of raw materials and crude oil. The result is a crushing reality for Canadian consumers.
Many jurisdictions in Canada now are above $1.90 a litre, and even Vancouver is above $2 a litre.
According to Montroy, with a prolonged war now feared, oil and gas markets are responding with extreme volatility, affecting supply and cost.
When this crisis started, Paul, we were talking about the key theme, which was trying to avoid escalation. Unfortunately, what we're seeing in the Middle East now is an escalation. This was supposed to be, according to President Trump, a conflict that would have lasted a couple weeks. We're now past a month.
The spike in fuel prices is also impacting the overall economy. The owner of this coffee shop says his operating expenses are now sitting at all-time highs.
We're in the coffee business, we're in the milk business because we serve a lot of lattes. So yeah, it's unfortunate.
I'm not sure if there's going to be an end in sight.
Commuter Jim Jackson is so fed up with the price of gas, he's now driving a newly purchased hybrid car.
Fuel prices obviously play a factor.
Montroy has a warning. As long as the war rages on, Canadians should brace for more bad news.
The trend is not good, and it's a direct relation with what's happening in the Middle East now around the Hormuz Strait.
Carol Montroy does not like to make predictions when it comes to price increases for gas, but he's not afraid to manage expectations. He says if this war continues, possibly long term, there could be gas price increases well into the summer season. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
If you're getting ready for Easter dinner, you might be seeing some sticker shock at the supermarket. Prices for popular dinner items and treats are climbing. It's led some families to change their plans in search of savings. CTV's Tyler Fleming reports.
More expensive? I'm not sure. Oh, yeah.
This holiday ham from Costco, nearly $9 a kilo. A good deal for Eric Shear.
I'm going to say last time I bought this, it was probably 30-ish.
Compared to last year, up about 10%, in line with overall rising food prices.
Refrigerator.
To help offset the cost, this family is going with a potluck.
I'm responsible for the ham, so this is like my only responsibility, so it's not that bad even if it goes up a little bit.
New consumer data shows year-over-year meat prices, especially beef and chicken, are climbing fast.
The prices of oil in particular have surged, and that increases the cost in every step of production.
At Pete and Gus Meat Market, Case DeCarlo says while some shoppers are switching to other cuts,
this year I'm seeing people getting a lot more pork, a lot of hams, crown roasts, and the like.
His business is holding strong.
I'm actually picking up Pete and Gus's famous breakfast sausages for two of my other kids and delivering them. They've always liked these breakfast sausages, so that's going to be part of their breakfast for Easter. You come to a place like this, you know you're getting good quality food.
This guy is just an adorable little treat to put in your Easter basket.
It is not just dinner. Chocolate prices have soared amid supply chain shortages.
I'm also seeing more filler ingredients go into the products, palm oil, just more sugar and less cocoa.
But that's not the case at White Pine Chocolates.
I've decided to stick with small Easter gifts this year.
Where owner Wendy Peterson says the value is in the bite.
And you know that there's a lot of love put into it, both from the farm all the way to the chocolatier. I think that's special, and that makes a little luxury indulgence worthwhile.
Some families may even push back this year's egg hunt.
It's supposed to rain a lot on the weekend, so we figure we're going to do it the next weekend, maybe get some discount Easter chocolate.
Tyler Fleming, CTV News.
Showcasing skills with a sporting twist. Huron Perth high schoolers took part in a large-scale skilled trade competition meant to promote careers in the field. CTV's Scott Miller reports.
Future carpenters, welders, and electricians strutted their stuff at a Skills Ontario competition in Listowel last week, vying for a shot at being the best of the best in all of Ontario.
They love what they do, they are talented, and it gives them a platform and an opportunity to be able to show that on a day like today, where they start with a project and finish at the end of a day and get some feedback from our judges and potentially advance to the next round for Skills Ontario, whether that's qualifying or the provincial competition in Toronto.
Making it to the provincial big competition would be a dream for competitors like grade 12 student Dylan McNeil, but it's really the sense of accomplishment that comes with building something with his mind and hands that's appealing to him.
You can have $200 worth of lumber, and then you turn it into a table that somebody might pay, $300-400 for, and you come here at 8 in the morning and it's just a pile of wood, and you leave with a table and bench, and it's cool to see the progression in that short time.
700,000 of Canada's 4 million skilled tradespeople will retire in the next 2 years. 100,000 of those will be required in Ontario alone, just in the construction industry. For years, skilled trades simply wasn't cool at school, but that is slowly changing.
I think about 3 years ago we started it and we had maybe 4 people, 6 people competing. Today I think we're around the 10 to 12 people, and I'm just hearing students in the halls, how do we get to be a part of this next year? I'm like, this is exactly what we're hoping for, right? So it's going to keep growing.
Treating the skilled trades like a sport or competition does help entice some high schoolers to take the leap as well, says Froud, who is already planning for next year's Here on Perth Skills Ontario competition.
You can do it in school that's not like normal schoolwork, and you have a lot of uses for it out there in the world.
It does give them connections and network with people where potentially when they leave high school or even summer job or through an apprenticeship through OYAP, that's an opportunity where they've met someone, they've made a connection, they've shown how skilled they are in an area, and then potentially that could lead to something further down the line.
In Listowel, Scott Miller, CTV News.
The countdown to liftoff. Just ahead, preparations for tomorrow's launch window for the Artemis 2 mission to the moon. Heather Wright joins us from Cape Canaveral with the latest. We are just under 24 hours away from the next launch window opening for the Artemis 2 mission, which will blast Canada's Jeremy Hansen and 3 other astronauts around the moon and back. If all goes according to plan, the crew will take off tomorrow night. CTV's Heather Wright is at Cape Canaveral for us.
With every second that passes, the Artemis 2 gets closer to liftoff.
There was a lot of smiles today, so felt really good about that. As the team is preparing, I think everybody's pretty excited and understands the significance of this launch.
The team has spent the day doing a number of final checks to the spacecraft, which will soon embark on a 10-day mission around the moon, while the astronauts, including Canadian Jeremy Hansen, remain in quarantine, waiting for tomorrow's planned launch.
He'll be spending time with people who are really close to him, family, and he's probably going to be going to bed really early and sleep shifting so that they can get on the schedule they'll be on for this moon mission. Now, whether or not he'll be successful, I don't know. Do you think you'd be able to sleep if you were going to the moon the next morning?
Joshua Kutrick is a Canadian astronaut who says a lot needs to go right for a successful liftoff tomorrow.
It's immensely complicated. It is the most powerful rocket that's ever been built, and it's full of millions of high-tech components. So technologically, this is a very big challenge.
And the challenges are only going to grow, with NASA unveiling ambitious plans for space exploration, including a moon base by 2030.
I think of this as just the opening chapter in a grand story of astronauts going to and from the moon with great frequency.
To achieve those goals, NASA Administrator Jarek Isaacman says collaborating with international partners like Canada will be critical.
Canada is leaning forward with robotic expertise for our ambitions on the lunar surface. It's exciting to think about the potential when you're not just going to the moon for a couple of days, but actually trying to create an enduring presence for, its scientific and economic potential.
Canada's partnership with NASA dates back decades, with Hansen set to become the first non-American to travel to deep space.
It is space diplomacy, and Jeremy is emblematic of that. Absolutely. He brings a huge, powerful capability, but it's also the whole country and our industrial capabilities, what we bring to the table. That's why we're here.
The launch window officially opens at 6:24 p.m. tomorrow. And while officials say there is an 80% chance of favorable weather, these strong winds and cumulus clouds are in the forecast, something NASA's weather officer will be keeping a close eye on as we get closer to liftoff. Heather Wright, CTV News, Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Start your night off with Best Medicine at 7, followed by Will Trent at 8, High Potential at 9, and cap your night off with RJ Decker at 10.
Well, our wake-up weather for your Wednesday morning is going to look a lot calmer than what we're dealing with right now. Let's give you a live look at our satellite and radar image right now. You can see that storm activity moving across southern Ontario. We still have a severe thunderstorm watch in place for all of our viewing region, and that's going to last into this evening. And then by tomorrow morning when we wake up, we should be dealing with clearing skies and temperatures just above the freezing mark. So tomorrow is going to start in a much nicer way weather-wise than we're finishing it off today. Well, finally, it's been another tough year for Leafs fans, and already moves are being made ahead of the end of the season. The president of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment facing the media today amid questions about what other changes could be coming. Here's CTV's Sean Leathong.
Brad Treliving's tenure as the Maple Leafs general manager is over after just 3 seasons, with Toronto set to miss the playoffs for the first time since 2016.
The team must chart a new course under different leadership to achieve our ultimate championship goal.
The Leafs have gone from Stanley Cup contenders to out of the playoff picture in the span of a year. MLSE President and CEO Keith Pelly says the firing was made after a deep analysis of the team.
Without the right culture, without the alignment and the accountability among everybody inside the operation, we will not be successful.
Pelly says the search for a new head of hockey operations will begin immediately, which could include a new president and GM. The Leafs announced Tree Living's departure ahead of Monday's game. The players expressed shock and disappointment.
How I feel is that it's on the players, for, where we're at in the standings.
It's a little shocking, to be honest. Pretty abrupt.
Leafs Nation not so sentimental.
They weren't going anywhere this year, and you could see it.
I didn't see any benefits. I didn't see any positive change when he came in. I haven't seen anything until now. Not sure if it's the right person or not for the Leafs.
In the wake of the worst Leafs season in a decade, there are questions if this marks the beginning of a retool or rebuild.
They don't have a deep prospect pool. They're old, they're getting slower.
Pelly believes it will be a retool, but says the team's direction will ultimately lie with the new head of hockey operations.
We have to find a way to increase and to improve that lineup, and we need to do it rapidly, but we have the foundational pieces in place, which gives me the confidence that we can contend very quickly.
There is also uncertainty for head coach Craig Berube, who was hired by Tree Living in 2024.
He gave me an opportunity here, and I feel like we let him down this year.
His role of the hockey club doesn't change today.
Leaving his future with Toronto in limbo until Tree Living's successor is chosen.
All right, and on that note, on a hockey-related note, we're going to have OHL playoff coverage for you tonight at 11:30. Of course, the Kitchener Rangers looking to go up 3-0 in their series with the Saginaw Spirit. Guelph, meanwhile, they're on home ice tonight at Sleeman Centre. They're trailing the Windsor Spitfires 2-0. And in this game, which is already underway, the Spitfires leading Guelph 1-0. Windsor scoring first in that game at Sleeman Centre tonight. So we'll have all your OHL coverage and more tonight at 11:30, right after the CTV National News. We'll see you then. Stay safe, stay dry. Thunder rolling right now. We'll see you at 11:30.